Welcome everybody to our final virtual Rooted and Rooted of 2020 of December of this school year. And I'm super excited that you guys are here. And as we conclude our series for this year in Virtual Rooted, the Baby Yoda Christmas series. So I'm excited, so we're going to dive right in. So I want to start with telling a story. To introduce tonight's topic, I want to tell a story about somebody named Claire Ashman. And Claire Ashman was a woman who grew up and had lived in Australia, still alive today. And she did a talk several years back, not too long ago, about her growing up, how she was born into a family, that they had this community that they grew up in. And slowly as she got older, she began to realize that, I don't have quite the same experiences as other kids maybe that she got glimpses of from time to time, where these kids talk about fashion and clothing and hobbies and what was on TV last night, and she started to realize, wait, I don't know any of those things as she got older and older. And as she got older and began to notice things and realize that she was very sheltered in her life in the community and the people that she knew, she soon learned about something called cults. And telling her story in her talk, she came to find out that she was actually a part, through her family and how she grew up, a part of one of Australia's biggest doomsday cults. So you could call it a religious group, not a Christian cult, so to speak, but a religious cult where they were not allowed to socialize with people outside of their group. They were homeschooled, and she lived a life that was very brutal, a life that was very sheltered, a life that was very cut off from the entire rest of the world. And she had a quote, and she says, "One does not just join a cult. You're either born into it, or you have some type of low point in your life where you're seeking community and seeking out something so powerful to find meaning in your life." And there are about 3,000 cults that you can find in just the country of Australia. And cults are groups that are typically religious in nature, and they're broken off of sometimes mainstream groups. So we have what we believe to be true Christianity, the truth from Scripture, and there are Christian cults that are based off of Christianity, but they have completely gone astray from truth. And you have several groups like the Jehovah's Witnesses or the Mormons, who we believe would fall under the definition of a contemporary religious movement, a cult. So we have this lady, and she's been a part of this group, and she's stuck in it. And she tells her story about how she got out of it and how she found out that she was a part of it. And it's just a really sad story about that story about how often this happens, how often you find people born into these things, being indoctrinated with this heresy and these terrible things that they never even knew. It just becomes a way of life. It becomes something you do when you wake up, when you go to bed, when you go to work, or you go to school, or whatever you're doing in your life. It's your way of life. Now, the fact that you guys are all on YouTube right now, but on Zoom tonight with Virtual Rooted and participating probably means that you're not a part of some secret underground religious cult or something like that. But just because we're not into that, or maybe you guys listening here aren't involved in that or suckered into that, that doesn't mean that we don't have things in our lives that become a way, so to speak, a way of life. And there are obvious things in life that can consume our hearts and our minds and our time. So I want to give some examples that you guys might struggle with. Maybe your way, so to speak, in life is sports. Maybe it's a relationship. Maybe it's the desire to be with others, like spending time with friends, where that's just what you want so much. You just want to get done, so you get done with what you have to do in life so you can go see these people. Maybe your way in life is to just be comfortable. I just want a normal schedule. I just want to be comfortable. But I would guess a lot of us are in the boat of, with 2020 right now, we just want things to go back to normal. And I found myself just wanting that so much. I just want things to go back to normal, and that's almost become a pursuit of my mind and my heart, my way, so to speak. Lord, I want them to go back to normal. The problem are not these things inherently, spending time with friends, having relationships, wanting to go back to normal. Those aren't bad things. The issue in our life is when things become our way. And I'm going to keep using that phrase, our way. And when they become our sole focus. And I started off with the story of a cult, and I'll get to how we're connecting that to all of this, and the point is that a cult, it is your complete way of life, and we're not a part of that. But what is your way? What are your focuses? What are your thoughts? What has become the way in your life if it's not Jesus? In the Mandalorian series, one of the main characters obviously is the Mandalorian, and some of the characters in the show call him Mando. And you find out in the show that his actual name is Din. Now, Din was not from the planet Mandalore, where Mandalorians originated from, but he was a kid, and there was a war going on that involved his home planet, and he got taken. He got taken by a group of Mandalorians called Children of the Watch. So that's how he got brought into this group. So he grows up thinking these are Mandalorians and this is how it is. And he soon finds out later in life, he's a Mandalorian, he's been doing work, he's a warrior, all that stuff. He starts to slowly find out in his adult life that the Children of the Watch, the group he's a part of, is actually kind of like a Mandalorian cult. It's this extremist group, and they have rules, a rigid code of rules that they have to adhere to. Otherwise, you can no longer be, as they say, a true Mandalorian, a part of this group. One of those things, one of the catches about this group, is that they can never take off their helmet. They can never take off their helmet, or they can never be a part of the group again. Now, in the show, The Mandalorian, there's this saying that they say, and it comes up several times throughout the show when they say something that's part of their code of beliefs, their creed, and they kind of like, someone will say it, and then they'll all say it, they say, "This is the way. This is the way." Take a look.
Will do well. Reserve some for the foundlings.
As it should always be. The foundlings are the future. This is the way.
This is the way. This is the way.
This is the way. So the show goes on, and this saying comes up from time to time where he'll say this is the way, or just interacting with other people, because meaning this is the Mandalorian way, the only true Mandalorian way as Din has ever known it. And a few times we see where this comes up where he will not compromise at all for what he believes. He's rigid in it, uncompromising. And there's a specific moment where he comes to a point where he needs to take off his helmet, otherwise something's not going to happen. And thus Din is forced with the choice. Is he going to break his way and take off his helmet? But his world changes when he meets this little guy in the beginning of the show, who we affectionately call Baby Yoda. He meets him, and Din, or Mando, basically becomes his adoptive father, and this connection grows over time. His connection grows over time, and the moment when he has to decide whether to take off his helmet is when, because Baby Yoda has been taken by the enemy, and he's in this enemy base, and there's this face scanner, and he's in the presence of somebody who he's there trying to get information from, because he's trying to save Baby Yoda, and if he doesn't take off his helmet, he risks never getting him back. We all have things that we live by. We have rules, we have do's and do nots, we have personal convictions, we have beliefs, we have a code. We don't think in terms of we don't wake up in the morning and it's time to eat breakfast, this is the way, and we go to eat breakfast. We don't do that, and if you do, you're kind of weird if you do that. Let's be real, you're weird. But we do have things that we live by. We have belief. We have a system that we follow based on our values, what we've been taught, and what we believe. So that governs, so to speak, our way in life. And you could call that your way of life, what you do. Now there's this moment in the Gospels where Jesus is with his disciples, and he's coming to the end of his time of ministry, and he has just washed their feet. That's like the equivalent of going into the most horrible fair stadium, airport bathrooms and cleaning them with a sponge or a toothbrush. That's how horrible, low of a job. He washes their feet, he's talking to them, and he starts to tell them, hey, if you guys do these same things, if you show the world that you love each other and you love them, that's how they're going to know you're a believer. That's how they're going to know. And then he says, catch this, he says, if you do these things, the world will know, but I have to go away for a little while. He says, I have to go away for a little while. Peter chimes in. He's like, Lord, we're going to go wherever. We'll follow you wherever. And then we get these words. So I'm going to put the words up on the screen here, but it's John 14, verses 1 through 6, and it says this. Do not let your hearts be troubled. You believe in God. Believe also in me. My Father's house has many rooms. If that were not so, would I have not told you that I am going there to prepare a place for you? And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come back, and I will take you to be with me, so that you may also be where I am. You know the way to the place where I am going. Thomas said to him, Lord, we don't know where you're going, so how can we know the way? Jesus answered, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. Jesus declares, I am the way. Right off the bat here, they're thinking earthly directions, like the way. Tell me which road to go down. And you know what? That's not completely baseless, because the word way, as Jesus spoke it, the word there can refer to a road, like you're going to travel this way. It can refer to a journey, and it can also refer to kind of just a way of life. So they're asking, we don't know where to go, an actual street. Jesus, where are you going? But Jesus was thinking bigger. He was thinking, I'm going to my Father. I'm going to go prepare a place for you. You can't come right now, he says, but you'll be able to follow later. Thomas says, we don't know the way. And he's thinking like a road. We don't know which road to take. Where are you going to go hide in Jerusalem? Are you going to go outside of Jerusalem? And Jesus simply says to him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. Now, the truth, he is the source of all knowledge. Anything you guys learn in school, anything we know from science, anything we know about anything, he is the source of that. He says he is the life. He declares, I am the life. God, Jesus, who is God, made everything. He made you. He made the earth. It was through his power. He's the source of everything. But he also says, I am the way. And he says, no one comes to the Father except by me. So he's saying there's no way you can go to heaven. There's no way you can go to the Father. There's no way you can follow me, who you're saying I am the Messiah. They were kind of affirming that at this point. None of that, you can't make it unless you come through me. And this is such an important thing that we have to understand. There is no way to the God of the universe except through Jesus Christ, the man. That's exclusive. It is exclusive, because there's no other way to heaven. People who don't know Jesus cannot go to heaven, because he is the only one offering forgiveness. He declares, I am the way. Now, this baby we celebrate at Christmas, who grew up and at this point in his ministry declared, I am the way. I am the direction. I am the way to God forever. So I want to pose this question to you guys this time at Christmas. What is your way? Is this baby that was born in a manger 2,000 years ago, is he your way? Truly think about it in your heart. Is he your way? Is he your focus in life? When you wake up, when you eat, when you go to bed, when you come to church, when you come to youth group, is he your focus? Or is it, well, I know I'm supposed to think about these things, so I'll do them. And I know I forget, but there's a difference between that and he is the center of your life. Now, there's this moment in The Mandalorian, that moment I shared about when Din was charged with this decision he had to make. Is he going to remove his helmet? Is he going to let other people see his face? Now, to us, we may think, well, dude, just take off the helmet. You got to save Baby Yoda. But this is like people who are stuck in cults. You will lose everything. If you take that off, your identity as you know it could be gone to save this baby. Now, Din decides to remove his helmet. And in the show, this is a huge moment. It's almost in a sense that he is giving up the way he is following. He always declared, the whole cult that he was a part of, he didn't know it was a cult, they always said, this is the way. He gives that up for the sake of this baby. And I want to ask you guys tonight, what are you willing or not willing to give up for the one baby who declared about himself, I am the way? Are you willing to give up everything? Because if you are not, I pray God is working in your heart. And it's not easy. That's not like, oh, you're not willing, you must not be a real believer. No, not at all. But it's a tough thing. And we need to constantly be evaluating. So what I want you guys to do, and I'm going to put these words up on the screen, is I want you to answer this question. What is it in your life that if you were to take away blank, I'd be lost? So let's just say, if blank was taken away or is no longer a part of my life, I would be lost. Insert whatever it is in your life into that sentence. If blank was taken away, I would be lost. If this baby that we celebrate at Christmas is not your way, is not the center of your life, not the focus of your life, the foundation in which everything else your life is built on, you will reach a point in your life when the things are stripped away, a relationship is broken, you can't do a sport anymore, you have an injury, you're not comfortable, life changes, people leave, whatever it is. When that's stripped away, you will be lost. And I've seen it time and time again from unchristians, non-believers, and Christians alike, where they slowly find out, and it happens to all of us, that we find, wow, my identity, my way was actually more wrapped up in these things than I realized, and it forces us back to Jesus. So I want to help us out by having us think about this now. And I want to challenge us, and as we close this year out and close this series out, to commit to making this baby, the God of the universe, your way. To answer that question, what's most important to me in life? And then asking God for wisdom. How can I make you, Jesus, the most important thing in my life? So that's what we want to do. We want to make him everything. We want to make him the center. We want to make him the focus. We want to make Jesus our way, our very focus in our life, the very road we take. Think about your life, everything you do from morning to night, like walking on a road, walking on a path. That path should ultimately always be to Jesus. Don't let this year be another year where we're idle, where we're not thinking. Make him your way.